The grand halls of the Galactic Council shimmered with an otherworldly glow. Beings from 1,000 worlds filled the chamber, their forms as varied as the stars themselves. In the center, a holographic display showed the newest candidate for membership, Earth. Admiral Sarah Chen stood tall, her crisp blue uniform a stark contrast to the colorful and often bizarre outfits of the alien delegates. She felt small, but her pride in representing humanity kept her chin high. This was a historic moment, the first time humans had been invited to join the galactic community. The head counselor, a tall, willowy being with shimmering silver skin, raised a hand for silence. "We welcome the representatives of Earth," it said, its voice echoing through the chamber. "Your species has achieved faster than light travel, marking you as ready for greater galactic involvement." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Some were curious, others skeptical. Admiral Chen stepped forward, her heart pounding. "Thank you, esteemed counselor," she said, her voice steady despite her nerves. "Earth is honored by this invitation. We look forward to contributing to the galactic community." A harsh laugh cut through the polite applause. A bulky reptilian creature leaned forward in its seat. "Contribute," it scoffed. "What could these primitives possibly offer us?" Chen felt her cheeks burn, but she held her tongue. The head counselor shot the reptilian delegate a warning glance. "Ambassador Zixkar, please. All species have something to offer." Zixkar wasn't deterred. "I've seen their military capabilities," he sneered. "Projectile weapons, nuclear fission. It's like watching children play with sticks." More laughter rippled through the chamber. Chen's fists clenched at her sides. She knew Earth's technology was behind many of these species, but surely they could see the potential. An avian being with iridescent feathers spoke up. "Perhaps they have other strengths. Art, philosophy. We have much to offer in those areas," Chen said quickly, grateful for the lifeline. "But our military is not to be underestimated. We've overcome great challenges." "Yes, yes," interrupted a gelatinous blob pulsing with bioluminescence. "We've all read the reports. Quite impressive for a young species to survive so many self-inflicted near extinctions." Chen felt her temper rising. The condescension in the being's tone was unmistakable. Before she could respond, Zixkar spoke again. "Let's see these great military minds in action, shall we?" He tapped a control, and a holographic display sprang to life in the center of the chamber. It showed footage from Earth's most recent war games. To Chen's eyes, the maneuvers were impressive. Sleek jets streaked across the sky, ships coordinated complex movements, and ground forces demonstrated advanced tactics. But the council members watched with amusement, some even yawning. "Atmospheric aircraft," one delegate chuckled. "How quaint. Look at the size of those ships," another added. "You could fit 100 of them in one of our cruisers." Chen tried to interject, to explain the strategy behind the maneuvers, but her words were drowned out by the growing laughter and mockery. She felt her face growing hot with humiliation and anger. The head counselor finally raised a hand for silence. "While Earth's military may be developing," it said diplomatically, "we must remember that all species start somewhere. Now let us move on to discuss the terms of probationary membership." As the discussion turned to trade agreements and cultural exchanges, Chen stood silently, her mind racing. She knew that back on Earth, military leaders were watching this transmission. She could almost feel their fury and determination building. What the council didn't know, what Chen herself only suspected, was that this mockery would light a fire under humanity like nothing else could. In secret labs and hidden shipyards across Earth, scientists and engineers were already pushing the boundaries of what was possible. As the meeting dragged on, Chen allowed herself a small, secret smile. "Let them underestimate us," she thought. "They have no idea what humans can do when challenged." Little did the Galactic Council know, their laughter was sowing the seeds of their own astonishment. Humanity's response would be beyond anything they could imagine, and at its heart would be a ship that would change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. But for now, Admiral Sarah Chen stood tall, enduring the mockery with gritted teeth, knowing that Earth's moment would come. And when it did, the laughter would die in the throats of those who dared underestimate the tenacity, ingenuity, and sheer stubbornness of the human race. Deep beneath the surface of Mars, in a sprawling underground complex, Dr. Akira Tanaka stood before a massive holographic display. The image showed a ship unlike anything humanity had ever built before. Its sleek lines and imposing size made even the largest Earth vessels look like toys in comparison. "Status report," Dr. Tanaka said, his voice echoing in the cavernous room. A young engineer stepped forward, her eyes bright with excitement despite the dark circles under them. "We've just finished the final simulations on the quantum drive, Dr. Tanaka. It's performing beyond our wildest expectations." Tanaka allowed himself a small smile. "Excellent work, Dr. Chen. And the weaponry?" "The plasma cannons are operational," another scientist chimed in. "We're still fine-tuning the targeting systems, but their power output is off the charts." The project leader nodded, his eyes never leaving the rotating image of the ship. This was humanity's answer to the mockery they had endured from the Galactic Council. The U.S. Thunderchild, Earth's first true dreadnought. Alarms suddenly blared throughout the complex. Tanaka's head snapped up. "What's happening?" A communications officer rushed in, breathless. "Sir, we're receiving an emergency transmission from Earth High Command. The Galactic Council. They're under attack." The room erupted into chaos. Tanaka raised his hands for silence. "Show me," he ordered. The holographic display shifted, showing scenes of devastation. Strange, insectoid ships swarmed around the elegant vessels of the Galactic Council, tearing them apart with ease. The aliens' technology was unlike anything they had seen before. "Those fools," Tanaka muttered. "All their advanced technology, and they weren't prepared for a real threat." The door to the command center hissed open. Admiral Sarah Chen strode in, her face grim. "Dr. Tanaka, I assume you've seen the news." He nodded. "The Council's arrogance has finally caught up with them." "They've requested our help," Chen said, her voice thick with irony. "Apparently, our primitive technology is their last hope." Tanaka's eyes gleamed. "Then it's time to show them what we can really do. Is the Thunderchild ready for action?" Chen hesitated. "It hasn't been fully tested in real combat conditions. We'd be taking an enormous risk." "We don't have a choice," Tanaka replied. "Every moment we wait, more lives are lost. Besides," he added with a grim smile, "what better test could we ask for?" The Admiral nodded, then turned to address the room. "Listen up, everyone. We're accelerating our timeline. I want the Thunderchild ready for launch in 24 hours. Can we do it?" A chorus of determined "yes, sir" filled the air. The room burst into frenzied activity, scientists and engineers rushing to their stations. Tanaka and Chen stood side by side, watching the controlled chaos around them. "Do you think we're ready for this, Akira?" Chen asked quietly. The scientist's eyes never left the holographic image of the Thunderchild. "We have to be, Sarah. The entire galaxy is at stake, and this is our chance to prove ourselves." As the hours ticked by, the massive underground hangar housing the Thunderchild came to life. Fuel lines were connected, final system checks were run, and the crew, handpicked from Earth's best and brightest, began to board. Dr. Tanaka stood at the base of the ship, marveling at its size. Years of work, countless sleepless nights, and the combined genius of humanity's greatest minds had all led to this moment. Admiral Chen approached, now dressed in her flight suit. "It's time, Hera. Are you ready?" Tanaka nodded, his heart pounding with a mixture of fear and excitement. "I never thought our first real test would be saving the very beings who mocked us." "Ironic, isn't it?" Chen said with a wry smile. "But that's humanity for you, always defying expectations." As they boarded the ship, Tanaka took one last look at the bustling hangar. Humanity's future hung in the balance, and the weight of it all rested on the Thunderchild's shoulders. But as the engines roared to life, shaking the very foundations of Mars, Dr. Akira Tanaka felt something he hadn't experienced in years: hope. The Thunderchild was about to make its debut on the Galactic stage, and nothing would ever be the same again. The Galactic Council's grand meeting hall, once a place of order and diplomacy, now echoed with panicked shouts and frantic commands. Delegates from 100 worlds huddled around holographic displays, watching in horror as their mighty fleets crumbled before an unstoppable alien force. Zixcar, the reptilian ambassador who had so recently mocked Earth's military prowess, now stood slack-jawed as he witnessed the destruction of his homeworld's prized battleships. "Impossible," he muttered, his scales pale with fear. "Our technology is superior to anything in the known galaxy." The head counselor, its silvery skin now dull with stress, called for order. "We must unite against this threat," it declared, but its voice wavered with uncertainty. "Surely our combined forces can repel these invaders." But as the hours passed, it became clear that the Galactic Council's confidence had been terribly misplaced. The alien attackers, insectoid creatures piloting ships that seemed to phase in and out of reality, tore through their defenses like paper. On the fringes of the Council space, planetary defense systems fell silent one by one. Evacuation orders were given, then rescinded as escape routes were cut off. The proud races of the galaxy found themselves trapped, helpless before an enemy they couldn't understand. In a desperate bid for survival, the Council turned to its member worlds, calling for any technology or weapons that might turn the tide. But world after world reported the same. Their best efforts were useless against the alien onslaught. As the situation grew more dire, a junior aide approached the head counselor, whispering urgently in its ear. The counselor's eyes widened. "You can't be serious," it said, loud enough for nearby delegates to hear. "We're considering asking the humans for help." A murmur ran through the chamber. Ask the humans, the same primitives they had laughed at mere days ago. It seemed absurd, yet as another holographic display winked out. Another world lost. The absurd suddenly seemed their only hope. The head counselor straightened, making a decision. "Open a channel to Earth," it commanded. "We must request their assistance." Millions of light years away, in the Oval Office of the White House, the President of the United States sat surrounded by her top military advisors. They had been monitoring the Galactic Council's plight, watching as the alien force decimated worlds far more advanced than their own. "Madam President," General Rodriguez said, his voice grim, "we've just received a transmission from the Galactic Council. They're requesting our help." The President leaned back in her chair, a mix of emotions playing across her face. "After all their mockery, now they turn to us," she mused. Then, more seriously, "What's the status of Project Thunderchild?" Admiral Chen's face appeared on a nearby screen, transmitted from the secret Mars base. "The Thunderchild is ready for launch, Madam President. Dr. Tanaka and I are prepared to lead the mission personally." The room fell silent as the weight of the decision pressed down on them all. Earth's most advanced ship, untested in real combat, against an enemy that had bested the galaxy's greatest powers. It seemed like suicide. "If we do nothing," the President said slowly, "the alien threat will eventually reach us. We'll be fighting alone, without allies or support." She stood, her decision made. "Admiral Chen, you have a go. Show the galaxy what humanity is capable of." As the transmission ended, the President turned to her advisors. "Prepare a message for the Galactic Council. Tell them help is on the way." A grim smile touched her lips. "And remind them that the primitives they mocked are now their last hope." Back in the Council chambers, the response from Earth was met with a mixture of relief and skepticism. "What can they possibly do?" One delegate scoffed. "Their ships are centuries behind ours." But Zixcar, chastened by recent events, raised a clawed hand for attention. "We underestimated them once," he said, his voice low. "Let's not make that mistake again. Whatever the humans are sending, I have a feeling it will surprise us all." As the Council waited, Tensions high and hope fading, the U.S. Thunderchild began its historic journey. Humanity's greatest achievement was about to face its ultimate test, carrying with it the fate of not just Earth, but the entire galaxy. The stage was set for a confrontation that would reshape the cosmic order. And at the heart of it all, a ship born of human ingenuity and determination raced towards its destiny, ready to silence the doubters once and for all. The U.S. Thunderchild erupted from its underground Martian hangar, its massive form blocking out the stars as it rose into the thin atmosphere. The ship's sleek, dark hull seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it, a shadow among shadows. On the bridge, Admiral Sarah Chen sat in the command chair, her fingers dancing over holographic controls. "All systems online," she announced, her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. "Dr. Tanaka, how's our quantum drive looking?" Dr. Akira Tanaka's voice came through the speakers, tinged with excitement. "Ready to engage, Admiral. If our calculations are correct, we should reach the edge of Galactic Council space in 3 jumps." Chen allowed herself a small smile. 3 jumps to cross half the galaxy. It was almost unbelievable. "Very well," she said. "Helm, prepare for our first quantum jump. Let's show the universe what humanity can do." The Thunderchild's engines hummed to life, a sound felt more than heard. The stars outside the viewscreen began to stretch, and then, in an instant, they were elsewhere. The familiar constellations of home were replaced by alien star patterns. Gasps of awe and disbelief filled the bridge. "Jump successful," the helm officer reported, his voice shaky with excitement. "We've just covered more distance in seconds than all of humanity's previous space exploration combined." Chen nodded, allowing the crew a moment to absorb the magnitude of their achievement. "Prepare for the second jump," she ordered. "We have a galaxy to save." 2 more mind-bending leaps through space, and the Thunderchild arrived at the fringes of Galactic Council territory. The scene that greeted them was one of chaos and destruction. Massive alien vessels, their designs defying conventional physics, swarmed around the remnants of the once mighty Council fleet. Energy beams lanced between ships, and explosions bloomed silently in the void of space. "My God," Tanaka whispered, having joined Chen on the bridge. "It's even worse than we imagined." Chen's jaw set in determination. "Open a channel to the Council flagship," she commanded. "Let's announce our arrival." On the Council's lead vessel, alarms blared as sensors detected a new arrival. The head counselor, its silver skin now ashen with exhaustion, turned to its communications officer. "What now? Another enemy force?" "No, Counselor," the officer replied, confusion evident in its voice. It's the humans. They've arrived." A stunned silence fell over the bridge, broken only when a human voice crackled through their speakers. "Galactic Council, this is Admiral Sarah Chen of the U.S. Thunderchild. We stand ready to assist. Please advise on the current tactical situation." The head counselor blinked in disbelief. How had the humans arrived so quickly? And with only 1 ship? It was either supreme confidence or utter foolishness. Before the council could respond, the alien forces seemed to notice the new arrival. 3 of their largest ships broke off from the main battle, streaking towards the Thunderchild with clear hostile intent. On the human vessel, klaxons sounded. 3 enemy capitals on an intercept course, the tactical officer reported. "They'll be in weapons range in 30 seconds. Chen's eyes narrowed. This was the moment of truth. "Charge main plasma cannons," she ordered. "Prepare to fire on my mark." The crew worked with practiced efficiency, the countless simulations and drills now put to the ultimate test. As the alien ships drew closer, their strange geometries becoming clearer on the viewscreen, Chen felt a calm settle over her. "Fire." The Thunderchild's main cannons erupted, sending lances of superheated plasma streaking across space. The aliens, clearly not expecting such firepower from a primitive human vessel, were caught off guard. 2 of the ships were vaporized instantly, while the third spun away, crippled and leaking atmosphere. In the Council flagship, jaws dropped and eyes widened. The head counselor leaned forward, hardly daring to believe what it had just witnessed. Impossible, it breathed. But the impossible was just beginning. The Thunderchild moved with a grace that belied its size, its point defense systems picking off smaller enemy craft, while its main guns continued to tear through the alien fleet's largest vessels. As the battle raged on, a new emotion began to spread through the Council forces. Hope. The humans, those same primitives they had mocked mere days ago, were turning the tide of a war that had seemed unwinnable. The head counselor, watching the Thunderchild's awe-inspiring display of firepower and technology, felt a mixture of gratitude and shame. They had underestimated humanity, and now humanity was saving them all. As the alien forces began to falter and retreat, the Council flagship sent out a transmission to all its remaining ships. "Rally to the humans," the head counselor commanded. "Follow their lead. Today, we fight alongside Earth." The tide of the battle had turned, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The vastness of space became a canvas for destruction and heroism as the U.S. Thunderchild engaged the alien armada. Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the helm, her eyes darting between holographic displays, issuing commands with the calm precision of a seasoned warrior. Evasive maneuvers. She barked as a massive alien dreadnought, easily twice the size of the Thunderchild, unleashed a barrage of energy weapons. The human ship rolled and twisted, narrowly avoiding the brunt of the attack. Dr. Tanaka's voice crackled over the comms. "Admiral, their weapons are unlike anything we've seen. They're not just energy-based. They're warping space-time itself." Chen gritted her teeth. "Can our shields hold?" "For now," Tanaka replied, "but we can't take too many direct hits." The bridge shook as a glancing blow struck the Thunderchild. Warning lights flashed, but the ship's advanced systems quickly compensated. Chen knew they couldn't stay on the defensive forever. "Tactical, analyze their attack patterns," she ordered. "Find me a weakness." As the Thunderchild danced through the chaos of battle, the Galactic Council forces rallied behind it. Alien allies, once skeptical of human capabilities, now watched in awe as the Earth ship outmaneuvered and outgunned the invaders. On the Council flagship, the head counselor leaned forward, its silvery eyes wide with amazement. "How is this possible?" It whispered to no one in particular. "Their technology, it's beyond anything we've seen." Zixktar, the reptilian ambassador who had once mocked humanity, stood nearby. "We were fools," he said, his voice filled with regret and admiration. All this time, they were building something extraordinary. Back on the Thunderchild, the tactical officer's voice cut through the tension. "Admiral, I've found a pattern. The enemy's main weapon has a 3-second recharge cycle. There's a brief window where their defenses are weakened." Chen's mind raced, formulating a plan. "Helm, on my mark, I want you to take us straight at their flagship. Weapons, charge the main cannon to maximum power. We'll only get one shot at this." The crew tensed, understanding the risk. They were about to charge headlong at an enemy that outgunned and outsized them. But trust in their admiral, and their ship ran deep. "Now," Chen commanded. The Thunderchild surged forward, its advanced engines pushing it to speeds that seemed to defy physics. The alien flagship loomed larger and larger on the view screen, its bizarre geometry becoming clearer with each passing second. Energy weapons from the alien ship lashed out, some finding their mark. The Thunderchild shuddered under the impacts, but its shields held. "Distance to target?" Chen asked, her knuckles white, as she gripped her chair. 5 seconds to optimal firing range, the helm officer reported. The enemy flagship's main weapon began to glow, preparing to fire a shot that could vaporize the Thunderchild. 4, 3. Chen's eyes narrowed, braced for impact and return fire. Just as the alien weapon discharged, the Thunderchild unleashed its main cannon. 2 beams of unimaginable power crossed in space. For a moment, it seemed like reality itself bent around the point of impact. Then the alien beam dissipated, overwhelmed by the Thunderchild's attack. The human weapon punched through the enemy's defenses, striking deep into the heart of the massive ship. Explosions blossomed along the alien flagship's hull. Its strange reality-warping field flickered and died. Slowly, like a fallen giant, it began to list to one side. A cheer went up on the Thunderchild's bridge, quickly silenced as Chen raised a hand. "Stay focused," she warned. "This battle's not over yet." But the tide had turned. Seeing their flagship crippled by a ship they had dismissed as primitive, the alien forces fell into disarray. The combined fleet of humanity and the Galactic Council pressed their advantage, picking off enemy ships one by one. Hours passed, the battle raging across an entire star system. But gradually, inevitably, the invaders were pushed back. Those that could retreated into the depths of unknown space. Those that couldn't were destroyed or captured. As the last enemy ships vanished from sensors, an eerie quiet fell over the battlefield. The Thunderchild, scared but unbroken, stood as a testament to human ingenuity and courage. Admiral Chen allowed herself a small smile. "Send word to Earth," she said softly. "The threat has been neutralized. We've won." Across the comm channels, ships from 100 worlds erupted in celebration. The galaxy had been saved, and humanity had proven itself beyond all doubt. As the Thunderchild moved to rendezvous with the Council flagship, Chen couldn't help but wonder, how would the galaxy change now? What new era were they stepping into? One thing was certain, the human race would never be underestimated again. The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council, so recently a scene of panic and despair, now buzzed with excitement and disbelief. Representatives from hundreds of worlds gathered, their eyes fixed on the central platform, where the U.S. Thunderchild's crew stood at attention. Admiral Sarah Chen, her uniform crisp despite the recent battle, stepped forward. Beside her, Dr. Akira Tanaka fidgeted nervously, more comfortable with engines than accolades. The head counselor, its silver skin gleaming under the chamber's lights, raised its hands for silence. "Esteemed delegates," the counselor began, its voice carrying a mix of humility and awe. "We stand here today because of the bravery and ingenuity of those before you. The human race, whom we—" It paused, choosing its words carefully, "whom we gravely underestimated, has saved us all." A murmur ran through the crowd. Many delegates shifted uncomfortably, remembering their own mockery of Earth's capabilities just days before. The head counselor continued, "Admiral Chen, Dr. Tanaka, on behalf of the Galactic Council and all the worlds we represent, we offer our deepest gratitude and our sincerest apologies. We were wrong about humanity, and we humbly ask for your forgiveness." Sen stepped forward, her face a mask of professional calm. "Counselor, members of the galactic community, we accept your gratitude and your apology. Earth did not join this fight for recognition or to prove our worth. We fought because it was right, because the survival of all our peoples depended on it." She paused, looking out over the sea of alien faces. "We hope that from this day forward, we can work together as true equals, learning from each other and facing any challenges that may come as a united galaxy." The chamber erupted in applause, many delegates rising to their feet in a standing ovation. As the cheers died down, Zixkar, the reptilian ambassador who had once been humanity's harshest critic, approached the platform. "Admiral Chen," he said, his voice gruff with emotion, "I was the loudest voice mocking your people's capabilities. I was arrogant and foolish. Can you ever forgive us?" Chen looked at the reptilian, seeing the genuine remorse in his eyes. "Ambassador, forgiveness is a human trait we value highly. Consider it given. Now let's focus on building a stronger galaxy together." As Chen shook hands, and various other appendages, with the council members, Dr. Tanaka was swarmed by curious scientists and engineers from dozens of worlds. They peppered him with questions about the Thunderchild's technology. The quantum drive, how does it achieve such speeds? Your weapon systems, they shouldn't be possible. The hull material, what is it made of? Tanaka, usually reserved, found himself warming to their enthusiasm. Well, he began, a small smile forming. It all started with a crazy idea and a lot of coffee. As the scientists huddled around Tanaka, drinking in every word, the head counselor approached Chen privately. "Admiral," it said quietly, "we owe you more than we can ever repay. But there's something you should know. Our long-range sensors have detected more of those alien ships, far out in uncharted space. This may not be over." Chen nodded gravely. "We suspected as much. The Thunderchild is just the beginning. Earth stands ready to work with the Council to prepare our defenses. Together, we'll be ready for them." The counselor nodded, relief evident in its posture. Together, it agreed. Humanity has more than earned its place among the stars. As the day wore on, the council chamber became a whirlwind of activity. Trade agreements were drafted, cultural exchange programs proposed, and military alliances formed. Humanity, in one stunning stroke, had gone from a novelty to a central player in galactic politics. At the heart of it all stood the Thunderchild, docked outside the council station. Its scared hull told the story of the desperate battle it had won, a testament to human determination and ingenuity. As delegates from across the galaxy lined up to tour the ship, Chen stood at a viewport, gazing out at the star-filled expanse. Dr. Tanaka joined her, following her gaze. "Did you ever imagine it would turn out like this?" Tanaka asked softly. Chen shook her head. "Not in my wildest dreams. But this is just the beginning, isn't it?" Tanaka nodded, his eyes gleaming with the possibilities. "Oh yes, we've opened the door to a whole new era of exploration, discovery, and innovation. The galaxy won't know what hit it." As they watched, a group of young aliens excitedly boarded the Thunderchild, eager to learn from their new human allies. Chen smiled. The future was uncertain, filled with both promise and peril. But one thing was sure: humanity would face it head-on, no longer underestimated, but respected and admired throughout the stars. 1 year after the legendary battle that saved the galaxy, the U.S. Thunderchild glided majestically into Earth's orbit. Its hull, once scared by alien weapons, now gleamed in the sunlight, repaired and improved with technology shared by grateful alien allies. On the bridge, Admiral Sarah Chen stood tall, her eyes fixed on the blue-green planet below. Earth had changed in the past year, almost as much as the galaxy around it. Cities now sported alien architecture. Strange plants from distant worlds bloomed in parks, and the night sky was filled with the twinkling lights of visiting starships. "Quite a sight, isn't it?" Dr. Akira Tanaka said, joining her at the view screen. "Sometimes I still can't believe how much has changed." Chen nodded, a small smile on her face. From outcasts to the center of galactic attention, it's been quite a journey. Their conversation was interrupted by a beep from the communications console. "Admiral," the young officer said, "we're receiving a transmission from the Galactic Council. They're requesting permission to send a delegation to Earth for the anniversary celebrations." Chen chuckled. "Imagine that. A year ago, they wouldn't give us the time of day. Now they're asking permission to visit. Patch them through." The view screen flickered to life, showing the familiar face of the head counselor. Its silver skin seemed to glow with excitement. "Admiral Chen, Dr. Tanaka, we eagerly await your return to Earth. The Council hopes to present a special gift to humanity during the celebrations." "We look forward to it, Counselor," Chen replied diplomatically. "Earth welcomes the Council's delegation." As the transmission ended, Tanaka turned to Chen with a raised eyebrow. "A gift? Should we be worried?" Chen shrugged. "A year ago, maybe. Now, I think we can handle whatever the galaxy throws at us." The Thunderchild descended through Earth's atmosphere, a sight that still drew crowds of awestruck onlookers despite its frequent comings and goings. As the ship touched down in the newly constructed Galactic spaceport outside New York City, Chen couldn't help but feel a surge of pride. The welcoming ceremony was a blur of flashing cameras, cheering crowds, and speeches from Earth's leaders. But the real excitement came later, at the grand gala held to celebrate the anniversary of humanity's galactic debut. The ballroom of the United Nations building had been transformed. Holographic stars twinkled on the ceiling, and anti-gravity platforms allowed guests from low-gravity worlds to mingle comfortably. Humans in formal wear chatted animatedly with aliens of all shapes and sizes, the babble of languages seamlessly translated by tiny devices in each guest's ear. Chen and Tanaka, decked out in their dress uniforms, made their way through the crowd. They stopped to chat with Zixkar, the once critical reptilian ambassador who had become one of humanity's staunchest allies. "Admiral, Doctor," Zixkar greeted them warmly. "Quite a change from our first meeting, eh? I hear the Council has a surprise in store for Earth tonight." Before they could probe further, a hush fell over the room. The head counselor stepped onto the raised platform at the center of the ballroom, flanked by representatives from a dozen alien races. Esteemed guests, citizens of Earth, and friends from across the galaxy, the counselor began, its voice ringing clear through the hall. 1 year ago, humanity proved itself not just a member of the galactic community, but a leader. Today, we honor that leadership. With a flourish, the counselor unveiled a shimmering hologram. It showed a massive space station, unlike anything Earth had ever built. "We present to you the plans for Harmony Station," the counselor announced. "A joint project between all council races to be built in Earth's orbit. It will serve as a hub for galactic diplomacy, scientific research, and cultural exchange." Gasps of awe and applause filled the room. Chen and Tanaka exchanged shocked looks. This was beyond anything they had expected. The counselor wasn't finished. "Furthermore, in recognition of humanity's vital role in defending our galaxy, we formally invite Earth to take a permanent seat on the Galactic Council's high command." The room erupted in cheers. Chen felt a tap on her shoulder and turned to see Earth's president, beaming with pride. "Admiral," the president said, "I believe you've earned the right to accept this honor on humanity's behalf." Heart pounding, Chen stepped onto the platform. As she shook hands with the head counselor, formally accepting Earth's new role, she couldn't help but think of how far they'd come. From a primitive, mocked species to a linchpin of galactic society, all in the span of a year.